Here, coming at you with a first look and impressions of the Prot Warrior in Legion Alpha. So again, as with all these first look sort of artifact videos, I have not played the class yet. I've just kind of set up my bars, looked at the abilities, kind of read through it all, and I'm basically going to be doing the artifact quest. I'm going to be talking about my impression of the tanking spec. I am a mythic tank in Raid Guild, 13 out of 13. I'm planning on continuing that in Legion, and I've just been taking a good look at all the different tank specs, and I will be continuing to take a look at tanking as it is coming in the Legion expansion. So today, we're going to be taking a look at the Prot Warrior. Now, Prot Warrior, from what I've heard and gather, is a little undertuned on the alpha right now. Has a couple of issues. It's definitely not something that is working out too well right now. Whether that's a numbers or mechanics thing, I'm not entirely sure. I guess I'll figure out as I'm doing the artifact quest. But I'm hoping that it does not make the artifact quest difficult for me. It'd be very embarrassing for me to like die on this recording. But anyways, go ahead and start this out. You can see here that the mastery doesn't look like it's changed at all. It increases your chance to block, and you get a chance to critically block, which again, you are the only class that gets to do that. And of course, it increases your attack power, just like every other tank. Now, as far as abilities go, I'm going to be taking a look at all the normal baseline abilities, and then we'll be taking a look at the talents right after. So I'm going to skip Avatar. Ignore Pain is your new active mitigation. Instead of having Shield Barrier, you get Ignore Pain. Now it's 40 rage, it's a 1 second cooldown, so you can just keep using it just like Shield Barrier was. But instead of an absorb, you gain, I should say, you fight through the pain, ignoring 90% of the next damage based on your maximum health, so it actually goes up, it scales with you, of total damage that you take from any sources. So instead of an absorb, it's an absorb that you still get hurt. It's very weird, but at the same time, you are actually going to be you gain rage from getting hit. So some of your abilities generate it, but just being hit and taking damage also gives you rage. So it's weird in that it's not as effective as a real absorb. You can actually stack it upon yourself. So if you have enough rage, you can just keep stacking and building it on yourself. So yeah, it's a weird thing, but it sort of kind of works because you, as a warrior, you kind of imagine that, yeah, you're going to be taking a bunch of damage, but you're just fighting through it. You're just not giving up. You're just going to, shake it off. So it's super interesting. It's something that's really, and it still lets you generate rage. So I mean, who knows? Let's see how it's going to go ahead and work and play out. Demoralizing Shout is a 1.5-minute cooldown now. It reduces the damage of all enemies by 20% that they do to you. Instead of charge and intercept, they've been rolled into one. So you have intercept, which is a 15-second recharge. You charge at someone with a very nice new animation. We're going to take a look at that once we're actually doing the artifact quest. But you basically, if you target an enemy, you charge at them. If you target a friendly, you intercept to them. So when you're charging at someone, you root them for 1.5 seconds. And when you target an ally, you're going to intercept the next melee ranged attack against them for 10 seconds, as long as they're within 10 yards, and it generates 20 rage. It is baseline 2 charges. So, Devastate stays the same. It's going to reset your Shield Slam. Last Stand is a 3-minute cooldown. Increases your current and maximum health by 30% for 15 seconds. Heroic Leap is a 45-second cooldown. Basically just jump. And it resets the cooldown on Taunt. I'm not entirely sure if that does it on live. Again, my main tank class has been a monk. I've been gearing up and playing a paladin as well heavily. I'm not as experienced in warrior, DK, and druid, but warrior is one that I have played before in the past, so I'm a little bit better than I was on my guardian druid. But yeah, I don't know if this is on live or not, but on here it's going to reset your cooldown on Taunt. Pummel is your interrupt. Heroic Strike. I don't like this one. This is 30 rage, I should say. It's a 1.5-second cooldown, but it heroically increases the damage of your next Devastate or Shield Slam, causing it to deal extra damage, and it stacks up to 3 times. It's not on the global cooldown. So instead of just being a heroic strike, it's a buff to Shield Slam and Devastate. Why? Why did you have to take away heroic strike? What was wrong with just doing an attack? Why does it have to be a 2-step process to just being something that you do damage. Because now instead you're gonna want to dump rage. You're gonna be spamming heroic strike, and it's like, oh yeah, I got to devastate or I got to shield slam. It's not an instant like attack. I don't know. I can't explain why they did that, but there you go. If you want to dump rage. Heroic throw still exists, 6-second cooldown, causes some high threat. Revenge is different now. It's a 9-second cooldown, and it's like a cone attack in front of you. Just swings in a wide arc, does damage, and it generates 4 rage. Every time you successfully dodge a parry, it resets the cooldown of Revenge, but it can't happen more than every 3 seconds. So that's a big change. Before, you might have Revenge just proccing all the time, just spamming that, but now it's going to be reduced because it can't proc more than once every 3 seconds. Shield block is still your active mitigation. The rage cost has been greatly reduced to 10 rage. It's still on a charge system, still going to be recharging, and you just block everything, every physical attack that hits you. And instead of the glyph that increased the damage the shield slam did while you had shield block active, it's just baked into the ability. So Thunderclap still exists. It reduces movement speed. It's big AoE. Shield slam still exists. Generates 6 rage. Victory Rush is still there. It's going to heal you for 30% of your maximum health. You can only use it after 20 seconds within getting experience or honor. Shield Slam is still here. Shield Wall, I should say. 4-minute cooldown, 40% damage reduction. Deep Wounds is still here, so when you devastate or cast Revenge, it's going to put a bleed on a target. And interesting enough, it gets cancelled if the target reaches full health. I'm assuming that's a PvP thing. Spell Reflection, another very welcome change. 25-second cooldown, you raise your shield, you reflect spells cast on you just like normal, but it also reduces all magical damage taken by 30%. It's going to last you 5 seconds or until a spell is reflected. So finally for boss fights, when you can't reflect those abilities, 30% magic damage reduction on a 25-second cooldown without a resource cost. Amazing. Very, very welcome change. Taunt still exists. Mastery still the same. And 2-second wins. Okay, interesting. That's a talent though. So yeah, so Warrior basically plays the same way. You're going to be using Shield Slam and Revenge to generate some rage. Devastate will eventually reset the cooldown on Shield Slam, where it will just come back up. You use Ignore Pain as a new Absorb, or Shield Block, depending on which is the best thing to do. Heroic Strike to dump rage, except it's like a 2-step process, so it's kind of really annoying. And you have your defensives, Demoralizing Shout, Last Stand, Shield Wall, Spell Reflect now thankfully joins in on there. Charge has been redesigned, but I think for the better, especially since you just get 2 charges on it immediately. So, talents now. So, for the first row you have Shockwave, works just as it does now, Siegebreaker, and Warbringer. That's basically just going to be doing damage to everything around them and stunning the target that you charge. The other 2 stay the same. Vigilance is still the same. It's 2-minute cooldown, lets you use taunt like crazy and reduce damage that someone else takes by 30%. Bounding Stride. Heroic Leap's cooldown is reduced by 15 seconds, and it also increases your run speed by 70% after using it. Very nice. Movement is an amazingly key thing that warriors do get to have. It is something that for them versus like a monk, they actually have to have a target to have movement, and Heroic Leap, reducing the cooldown on that, is always going to be helpful. Crackling Thunder increases the radius of Thunderclap by 100%. So this tree is actually, this row I should say, is a little weird because it's either just a bigger AoE, movement, or like a tank cooldown. So I don't really see how they fit together, but oh well. Then you have Renewed Fury. Ignore Pain also enrages you, increasing damage done by 10% for 6 seconds. So you don't actually get enraged. It's not a mechanic that Prot warriors have anymore, unless you take this talent. Then you have Ultimatum. Shield Slam, critical strikes make your next heroic strike cost an rage and be a guaranteed critical strike. Except heroic strike isn't actually an ability or an attack. It's a buff. So, I mean, sure. Whatever. Avatar still exists. 1.5-second cooldown, increases damage by 20%, removes roots and snares. Second Wind. You gain 6% health every 1 second when you haven't taken damage in the last 5 seconds. Now, this, while you're actively tanking, probably not the best thing. When you're taunt swapping, or when you have a little bit of downtime, this is probably going to be just amazing because it's going to be healing you for so much, especially when you're out by yourself. You pull a bunch of things, you almost die, you get through it, you can just get healed back up really quickly. Really interesting. Again, while you're actively tanking, probably not going to be useful, but again, you're not always actively tanking. There are moments in a fight where, realistically speaking, the dragon, the boss, the demon isn't going to be smacking your face. You have time to get healed up. Double time increases the maximum number of charges of intercept by 1. 3 charges. Oh yes. Inspiring presence. You inspire your allies within 60 yards, granting them 3% leech. I'm assuming, because you don't have any buffs anymore, there's no battle shout or commanding shout, I'm assuming this is just a buff that you get 3% leech. So you don't have to do anything for it, you just give them leech. Not bad. Best served cold, revenge generates 1 additional rage for each target that it hits. So, AoE tanking, fill up your rage bar in about 3 revenges. Pretty cool. Never surrender. Ignore pain will ignore up to 30% more damage based on your missing health. I have a theory that if things continue the way they are, ignore pain is going to be like your go-to. It's going to be something you want to use a shield block when you're taking a lot of physical damage, sure, but you're going to be basically putting the rest of your rage into ignore pain. And buffing it up to do even more absorption is going to be probably going to be the way to go in some situations. And then Indomitable increases your maximum health by 25%. I mean, the game used to be such that having more health as a tank just to survive hits, that's what mattered. That's all you wanted to do. But as that happened, tanks just became giant health sponges, or healers were having to spend all their mana just to get them topped off. Anything that's percentage smacks tanks way worse than anyone else because they have more health. So, I mean, having more health is not bad because it's a huge buffer, but is it necessary? I don't know. I guess Legion encounters are going to let us know. The level 90 tier is Vengeance. Ignore pain reduces the rage cost of your next heroic strike by 30%. Heroic strike reduces the rage cost of your next ignore pain by 30%. I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't have the math in front of me. Obviously, this is way early. This is alpha. Things are going to change. I don't see heroic strike being something that's used. Personally speaking, I just don't. I mean, if you're just swimming in rage, that you can afford to spend this for 30 rage, and you want to just buff up your shield slam, your heroic, your devastate, if you can afford to do that, I mean, and you're not taking any damage, it's kind of pointless at that point. Maybe it's farm content, maybe you're just doing some more damage. I don't know. I just don't see it being something that's really going to be useful. So I don't think that this talent's either going to make it through or it's going to be used really often. But it's basically encouraging you to change off. So you'll ignore pain once, you'll heroic strike the next time, you'll ignore pain the next time, you'll heroic strike the next one. Who knows? Into the fray. You gain 5% haste for each enemy within 10 yards up to 5 enemies. Haste reduces the cooldown on some abilities and it gives you rage. So it's going to be really interesting here. This is definitely going to be an AoE type thing. Even when you have one enemy in front of you, that's 5% haste. You have 5, that's 25% haste. Very interesting. Booming voice. Demoralizing shout also generates 50 rage and increases the damage you deal to every target that you hit it with by 20%. Could be interesting there. It's a nice big way to fill up your rage, do some extra damage on everything around you. Then you have anger management. Every 10 rage that you spend, reduce the remaining cooldown of last stand and shield wall by 1 second. This used to be longer. It used to actually affect some of your talents. Now it doesn't. I don't know about it. I'm probably not going to take it. Heavy repercussions. Shield slam extends the duration of shield block. Shield block increases the damage of shield slam. Now again, I don't have the math in front of me. This is really, really early. You don't have a lot of the tools that people usually have to kind of figure all this out. But this could potentially be something that would be interesting and worthwhile because you'd be able to extend it for such a long time that you could perpetually have, especially just with the fact that this is a 2-charge system on an 11.8 second recharge. With enough shield slams, you could almost keep this up indefinitely. And then you have Ravager, same thing. As it is on live, it increases your parry chance, does a bunch of AoE damage, 1 minute cooldown. So, again, as with all these videos, I'm not necessarily going to be taking the talents that are best for tanking and in raid situation. I'm just going to take what I want to go ahead and take for doing the artifact quest and just, playing solo. So for that reason, I took Siegebreaker. I don't see myself tanking more than 3 targets at the same time. Warbringer is probably not going to be necessary either. You definitely don't need Vigilance, so I want Bounding Stride. I want to go faster. Let's see. Avatar could be useful, but I'm kind of wanting to. I want to build into Ignore Pain. I want to see just how amazing it could possibly be. So I want it to arrangement. I want to do extra damage. Second Wind. Now this tier, Second Wind is probably really good when you're not taking damage. I mean, if you're going to be doing this artifact quest by yourself, I'll take it. I'll see how it goes. I love the idea of three intercept charges, but is it going to be realistically necessary? Probably not. Even though it does give you 20 rage each time. We'll see. Maybe I'll change it up. The next one, Ignore Pain will ignore 30% more health. I'm going to go ahead and take that. Again, I really want to test out an Ignore Pain build. Booming Voice, Vengeance. I think I'll just go into the fray. I want to feel what that haste does, and then Ravager for now. Perfect. So let me go ahead and make sure that everything has been placed correctly. I got my buffs and cooldowns, my abilities. Okay, Heroic Strike. I'm gonna try my best to make it useful, but I'm not super into it. All right, so let's go ahead and go get our artifact quest done. Oh, nope. Let's get over here. Apparently my mount will not load, so it's always good. There we go, Cinder Main Charger. I really want this on live. Where's this person? Alright. Should be in here. This is gonna make me work for it. Okay. Oh, there we go. Finally. Perfect. And as with all my videos, I'm not going to really be looking at the quest text. I'm not going to be reading it out loud or anything like that. I personally absolutely adore the Warcraft lore. I'm a huge lore nerd. I know as much as I possibly can know, but I'm very much focusing on tanking. I'm going to focus on what this is going to be like when you're raiding, the direction that they're going to be going there. They're all making sure the Storm Drake doesn't go crazy. That is a beautiful mount, by the way. It's going to be really, really nice when we finally have those available to us. They just look really cool. They have a Deathwing chin, even. Alright, let's fight some demons. Let's prove ourselves worthy to the Valkyr. I'm gonna enjoy the new animations for this. All the new melee animations in Legions thus far have been just spot on, perfect. It's really, really nice. Oh, I love that. That was nice. Let's ignore some pain. Victory rush there. Not that we need it. I don't like when quests do this where there's a bunch of demons or there's a bunch of enemies everywhere, because as a tank I just want everything to be in my face. Just make it easy for me. Put it in my face. Let me just take care of things like that. Cover Ravager. More pain. There's the Devastate Revenge. I do like the new animation for Revenge. Is a nice big sweep, which really goes with how it is an AoE now. Sort of a cone attack, I should say. I do wish these little nameplates were bigger. I'm used to on live I have LVUI and it's nice. Just kind of gives you an easy way of being able to click on things. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and try out this Heroic Strike. So I pressed it. Let's see what happens. Oh, let me get to the person first. Heroic Strike again. Devastate. Okay. I'm too crazy. Easy. I got a little shard that gives me some artifact power, so that's nice. That really felt good though. It didn't feel... I wasn't as rage starved as I was assuming I was going to be. Which is good. I forgot. In fact, I completely forgot to use Siegebreaker, which I really should be doing. Oh, that new animation, so good. Demoralize all these. Put a Ravager, Siegebreaker him, and then ignore some pain. Ooh, Pit Lord. Malgalore. I will say, having 2 blades for hands, that makes no sense to me. You can't do anything. You can't trust underlings to do things for you either, because of course, if they're underlings, that means they're not very capable. So, I don't know. It looks intimidating, I guess. Same thing with Cardgaff Blade Fist in BC. It just doesn't make any sense. Come on, RP. Oh god, is it bugged? I think it's bugged. Yeah, I think it's bugged. Well, this is great. Oh, there we go. That's really weird. Maybe there's a cinematic or something they have to add there. Who knows? Make sure I'm at a good distance so I can charge in. It does still have... Does it have a minimum range? Not sure. Stonebreaker. Revenge. Shield Slam. Heroic Strike. Shield Slam. It's not hitting me. Might as well. Charge in again for some more rage. Let's ignore pain. And then Heroic Strike. Now I'm enraged and I'm doing extra damage. Yeah, it's not as much fun when it's not hitting you. Oh, okay, there we go. Now I'm getting hit. Now I'm gonna get some rage. That's the problem with this way that they're trying to build it. If you need to take damage to get rage, it really punishes you when you're just not getting hit. Demoralizing Shout just because. Oh, and I've been defeated. But I killed him. That's what matters. Jeez, is that second win healing me up? Jeez. Yeah, I mean, second wind is no joke. That thing will heal you to full very quickly. The problem is you have to not take damage. That's what it'll get you. Halls of Valor. This place is just absolutely beautiful. This place might be a little big though, especially to not be. Oh wait, you can mount. You can mount now. Oh, how things have changed. Yeah, I found myself not really using Siegebreaker, which is probably just me being really bad. I'm okay with that. Is Odin. Hope they give him some nice sound there. His army is imprisoned by magic. Now, in the lore, he apparently made Helya into a Valkyrie. She didn't like that. So if he created her, how the hell does she have so much power that she can lock him and his armies away? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Unless he somehow gave her more power than he himself has, which doesn't make sense. But hopefully they'll go into it. Alright, now I can sky jump to the Halls of Valor. So let's go ahead and put this over here. Choosing an artifact weapon. Now, we are going to be going... All the arms is actually in this build has been released, so you can actually go ahead and do that. But we're focused on tanking, so we're going to be protection. We want the Scale of the Earth Warder, which critical blocks have a chance to cause 3 black dragon scales to erupt out of your shield, increasing your armor by 30% and causing physical damage. So, pretty cool. I just want to make sure I choose the right one. Excellent. Artifact chosen, weapons of legend. Alright. Lua arrows for day. Okay, so. This place is just amazing. Look at this. Just the skybox itself. I wonder what's supposed to go in there, though. I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to just walk through that. Oh, there we're going. So yeah, so they're locked away, and he uses a considerable amount of power just to let that one warrior through. I'm not dead. I can come and go as I please. Warriors can all come and go as they please because they're not dead. But the actual armies of Odin, they have the hard time. Alright, let's get this done. Now, this is obviously where the ads are going to come from, but I kind of hope that they, I don't know, maybe take that away. It's not super annoying, it's just kind of weird. Alright, I remember saying just a couple minutes ago how I didn't feel rage starved. I take that back. I take that back. Unless you charge in, it is... yeah. Yeah, in fact, I think I really should just charge in. Just ignore some pain. Stormbreaker him. Charge back in. Get some more. Heroic Strike. Oh, that pitiful heroic. See, it almost feels like a way. It doesn't feel like a decent use of rage because it's not an immediate thing. Maybe it actually is good because it has to be said. I don't know the numbers. I don't know if it's actually being worthwhile or not. Excuse me. But that being said, because you don't have an immediate effect, it doesn't feel good. And a lot of times, that's actually one of the biggest strengths of WoW's combat, is that things are responsive, they feel good, they feel like they have an impact. If you're not getting that feeling, it really does take away from the combat, pretty animations or not. So it's something to watch out for. I don't like the current implementation of Heroic Strike. I think it needs to go. I don't see anything wrong with the last implementation of Heroic Strike. It should be a Heroic Strike. Now I wish I didn't waste Ravager. Oh, okay, never mind. Just killing him. I was heroic leaping out just so I could charge back in and get some more rage. I didn't realize he was actually teleporting. Summoning a bunch of imps. Let's revenge, cleave him down. More pain. Alright. So, I just realized, I can't believe I didn't realize this before. We don't have Bladestorm anymore. There's no more Bladestorm. It hurts. It hurts so much to not have Bladestorm as a tank. I mean, sure, it wasn't the most tanky ability, but it was beautiful. I miss it. I do. I miss that it's gone. It just doesn't feel right. Yeah, ignore pain. It's a big rage cost. Yeah, I need some more rage. This is a little ridiculous. Even if you take booming voice, that gives you rage on demoralizing. That's a 1.5 minute cooldown. That's not all the time it's going to be up. Let's wait for this guy to RP walk over here. Second one feels nice. This is true. So, charge this guy. Oh. See, when you get rage from taking damage, then you're fighting something like that. There's a problem with getting rage from damage taken. Let's just say it like that. There's a problem there. Because even though that guy died really quickly, I mean, he might be undertuned, it doesn't feel good when you can't really do things. And again, I've said it a couple times now, but it feeling good is a bit of an arbitrary but important aspect of the game, of combat, of any sort of game that you're playing. If it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't feel good when you're doing it, then it's going to be demoralizing. It's just how it is. Heroic throw, come on. Boom. Done. Feels weird not having a buff to press. I'm used to spamming it. I love doing that in Rage. Just spam Legacy of the White Tiger over and over and over. I just want to make sure everyone has crit stats. That's very important. Alright, so here we go. It looks like he has the artifact weapons we need. Gotta talk to this guy. Let's go through a little bit of RP and then we're gonna go ahead and get this done. Leap out, charge back in, get some rage. Just demoralize him while he's Bladestorming, ignore pain. Revenge, devastate, devastate. Oh man, this guy hits like a wet noodle. Yeah, I remember him being significantly different. At least from what I've seen. Again, I haven't actually played this until I record this. I want a very authentic type of thing. I don't actually know what I'm getting into. some pain. Devastate, devastate. Revenge, shield slam, heroic strike, revenge, devastate. I'm actually starting to wonder if I'm even supposed to be fighting these people or if I'm just supposed to be smacking the boss. Kind of sucks to not having rage regeneration anymore. It's always been a nice thing to have just to boost yourself back up. A lot of changes in the warrior talent tree. Should I use Victory Rush? I think now more than ever it's important to make sure that you're getting use out of it, since you can't even tell it into rage regeneration anymore. Wow, I'm taking a lot of damage. Push him back. Got it. Ignore pain, save me. Jeez. All right, let's get healed up. Let's let second wind do its job. Oh. Do rush. More pain. Devastate, devastate. Ignore some more pain. Oh, I guess he just straight up murdered that guy. Which is great because I'm over here fighting the actual boss. It's cool. Wow, NPC escort quests have never been the best. So we'll leap away, let's not take all that damage. So I mean, none of the artifact quests are really all that difficult. It's definitely, you know, a quick 5-10 minute, well not 5, it's more like a 10 to 20 minute little excursion that you do. But it makes sense. I mean, you don't want to have this be so difficult that new players can't do it. Alright, and there we go. We're going to go ahead and get the shield and the sword. Scale of the Earth Fortress. A very, very interesting looking shield. Sword's kind of boring. Doesn't really change at all once you're doing the different styles. I do like that it sheaves on the back though. That's a nice little touch. And again, just it causes a chance that when you do critical blocks, it's going to increase your armor and do some damage. So pretty cool. And now we just need to sky jump back to the Halls of Valor. I hope they get some more animation or really anything. It's just a little boring. Oh, okay, so there's nothing there because that's where you spawn when you sky jump. That makes sense. I feel they could still add something there. Just well, there are under construction signs, so maybe there's an NPC or something to go in there. Let's go ahead and get this turned in. Alright, now we gotta speak to the Forge Master, get the last skill, and then from there it's like every other artifact where you just go ahead and choose where you want to level. So overall, warriors don't seem to have changed all that much. The biggest things is just you going back to a system where rage is from damage dealt, or damage taken I should say, which really doesn't make it feel too good when you're not getting hit by anything, when you're not actively tanking things. It's not a lot of fun. Ignore pain is super interesting. It's like an absorb with a hole in it, I guess. Take a little bit of damage, but it still lets you generate some rage, so I guess that's why they did it. Your artifact has an iron artifact slot and a blood artifact slot. And Shadow Flame Shield is the first skill that you get. 45-second cooldown. You enter defensive posture. All blocks are critical blocks, and a stream of Shadow Flame erupts out of your shield, dealing a bunch of damage in a cone. So pretty interesting. And the end talents are Might of the Vrykul. When you activate Demoralizing Shout, you have a chance to reduce the cooldown of Shield Slam, Revenge, Thunderclap by 50% for 10 seconds. That's pretty boring. Dragon Scales, blocking an attack has a chance to generate 3 black Dragon Scales to orbit around you. That sounds exactly like the passive on the artifact, so that's really weird. Being hit consumes a scale, gives you 10 rage, increases the value of an X ignore pain by 90%. So yeah, so I feel like ignore pain is the other, besides the rage being damage taken, ignore pain is the other really big change. Um, Everything seems to scale it up, make it stronger. I think it's going to be integral. But I mean, the rage generation needs to be tuned up a little bit. But ignore pain definitely looks interesting. It's a unique twist on what the absorb mechanic is in the game. So that's just going to increase the value of it. And then the last one is scales with the Earth Order. Everything scales with this. When ignore pain ends, your block chance is increased by 20% for 3 seconds. Yeah, so ignore pain. This actually encourages not to have it be extended forever, though. This encourages very much a playstyle of letting it end, getting your block chance, and then putting it back up. So, interesting. Oh, actually, let me go ahead and take a look at the appearances. Okay, so the standard one isn't too different. Arm of the Fallen King. Alright, these are all incredibly boring, besides this last one here. That's a bummer. Well, that's pretty much it. Actually, let me go ahead and try out this new skill here, just see what it looks like. Alright then. It's interesting. Having it be a channeled ability where you're not moving is a little weird as a tank, but yeah, overall, biggest changes is rage is gained through some abilities, but mostly getting hit, and ignore pain. It's definitely something interesting. And I mean, it didn't feel too good after that first initial broken short place. Rage generation needs to be tuned up. But other than that, I mean, it plays super similar. It's a little more enjoyable, I guess I should say, than the Guardian Druid. But I mean, when you don't like Bear Druids to begin with, it's what's going to be happening. I don't really like Rage classes. But the Warrior feels a little bit better. I just don't really see it being as viable as a tank. Guardian Druids can reduce everything. Every other ability that they have reduces damage. Warriors maybe need a little bit of a boost there. But that's pretty much it. That's the Prot Warrior artifact, the Scales of the Earth Order. If you like this video, please like, uh, favorite it, share it with friends, tell people about it. I don't know. Subscribe to the channel if you like it. Please post any comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know any sort of changes or advice that you wanted me to go ahead and take into account. I will be doing a little more of an analysis on the tanks after a couple more builds come out. My next thing I'm going to be working on is the Vengeance Demon Hunter. It's had a little bit of an overhaul, a lot more generation of pain, things like that. I'll be taking a look at that. I'll actually be streaming the leveling, and I'll be posting that on channel as well. So thank you, and this has been the Protection Warrior.